All right, so once again, podcasting from Vancouver, BC, Canada, in our very own studios, welcome to Safety Debris. This is the show that confirms that safety does indeed have a personality. This Safety Show podcast is different from the others, and we really think it is. We believe that to be true. And we do talk safety, but we also get to know our guest on a completely different level.
Safety Debris is where we get insight and professional opinion from our guests, but we also get to hear about their favorite music on their playlist. The music that moves them, the music that makes them feel good, music they listen to on a good day or even on a bad day.
So on today's show, we'll find out our special guest's opinion on what personality traits someone needs to have to be successful in health and safety and in their own safety role.
We'll also find out what some of the biggest challenges that our guest is facing in attracting and retaining employees during this great resignation.
This is Safety Debris with me, Richard DeLong.
And me, Tanya Steele. Today, our special guest is originally from Vancouver and currently resides in Delta, British Columbia. He is proud of his clan. He is a dad of 5 adult kids and a granddad to 16 grandchildren. He is a lead auditor of 4 ISO certifications and is an ISO manager and team leader for one of our largest companies here in British Columbia.
He's been around the block, the safety block, about 19 years, and he's been with his current employer since 1996. He's old, but he's fun and has a great sense of humor. I still hope so anyway. Today, we are speaking with the Director of Compliance and Safety.
Today, we are getting to know the music and personality of our very close friend, Bob Nielsen.
She's totally committed to major independence. She's a lady through and through. She gives them quite a battle, all that they can handle. She'll bruise some, she'll hurt some too. But oh, they love to watch her strut. Oh, they do respect her, but they love to watch her strut.
Oh yeah, the music of Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. That's from their 3rd album, Against the Wind. Takes us back to 1980. Hard to believe that's 42 years ago already. And a song called Her Strut. And I don't know why, but somehow in some weird way, that song really does describe our guest here today. But with the wrong gender in mind, because when this person walks into a room, he definitely puts on a strut. He doesn't mosey, he struts in there and he's got the positive attitude. It's all about him, bringing up other people around him. He's a positive guy. He's a lot of fun. Tanya and I have known him for many, many years. And we have had the pleasure to work with him closely as well for a few years. And because of that, we wanted to have him here on the show because Bob Nielsen is a great guy. He's a lot of fun. He's a good laugh. And what's really great about Bob is not only does he have a good sense of humor, Tanya, but he also is the first person to poke and make fun of himself. He's got that ability to say, hey, no worries, man, let's have a laugh. And if it's about me, I am good with it.
Yeah, as long as people are laughing or smiling, that's all he's looking for. Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. So, Bob, because Tanya and I know you fairly well, we want you to take a minute or two here. Just tell us a little bit about the Main Road Group of companies and what the scope of work is that the company specializes in and what your role is with the company.
So the Main Road Group is a group of highways maintenance companies. So we're like the janitors of the highway. So, we do the plowing, we do the mowing, we do the washing of the bridges and that sort of thing. But we also do some rehab work and maintenance work, bridge joint replacement, the patrols, and making sure the potholes are taken care of on the highways and that. So that's 60% of our business. The other 40% of our business is done with construction and electrical companies and products companies. So we have a company that produces cement and gravel and sand, and a company that produces, we're one of the largest salt importers in BC, as well as providing a polymer asphalt product. And then we have two electrical companies that we do highways maintenance as well as project work on. And then we have a construction company that does mainly civil work. And then we're also over in Alberta as well.
So do you, you said that you're a big producer or order of salt. Is that because of Alberta or because we've had the most snow we've ever had in our life this year in British Columbia?
We did that many, many years ago at the very beginning because we at one point almost ran out and there was only one supplier. So we did that out of self-preservation and to make sure that we could deliver on that product. So that's where we came from.
Well, we appreciate you. You know, Main Road, I think for me has become a household name because literally every morning when we're driving in traffic, we're like, and the main, you know, the radio says, and the main truck, you know, Main Road truck is rescuing whoever that's stalled or whatever. And I'm like, yes, there are heroes, Main Road. so we love our Main Road.
So Bob, what's your role with the company?
So my role with the company is I basically design and maintain all the quality, safety, and environmental programs for all the companies. And we now have 20 different separate companies within the group.
Wow, that does keep you busy. And it sounds like the Main Road Group has other services that helps itself, like it can cater to itself. Like it doesn't have to go outside to subcontract some work. You can look within and help out.
There's a lot of synergies that are created between the different operations. And that's purposeful on the direction that the company has gone. One, so that we're more self-reliant and we can insulate ourselves against the economic times, as well as create opportunities for employees that are going to be possibly coming on so they can take a career path maybe outside of what they came in at.
That's cool. And, you know, Bob, Cone Zone. I want to talk about the Cone Zone. And the reason why is because a lot of people know Main Road, you know, what you guys do, but they know Bob Nielsen because of Cone Zone and the impact that has on not just in BC, but really in other areas as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what is, for the person who's listening going, what's Cone Zone? How come you don't know what Cone Zone is? Everybody knows what Cone Zone is, but just tell them just in case they don't know.
So the Cone Zone is one, first of all, it started from an initiative that came out of WorkSafe and the BC Road Builders. And so it was to enlighten and to engage with the public and to get them to understand what a flagger and what a cone zone truly was and what you had to do within it. And so from that got built up between a bunch of different agencies. And as we went through, we were trying to figure out how to engage the public in a more interactive way. At least that's my viewpoint. And so we created
not interactive though. I mean, you guys made it extraordinarily super cool. Like it was the number one, I don't know, Richard, I would think is that like the number one ride to go on at the Cloverdale Rodeo.
Yeah.
Oh, is that with the Pedways?
Yeah, well, it was with that and the go-karts. We started off with the go-karts.
Right.
Which was a nightmare to start with.
Well, you're a mechanic by trade too, aren't you, Bob?
I'm a frame and front end mechanic by trade. But that was a whole new learning experience. You want to know about safety? Try and build a go-kart track with no knowledge.
Now this go-kart track idea and the cone zone didn't just exist here locally. It kind of, you've had people that came through and said, I like this. I want you to come to where I live and do this. Didn't you take this on the road, like to the States and everything?
Yeah, we took it down to Tacoma. They had a big construction show that they were doing safety pieces at. And so we took the road down there. We did it over on the island. We did it here. And people wanted us to take it other places, but it's a big setup and it takes a lot of people. Like the Cloverdale Rodeo, for instance, that took about 250 volunteers.
Wow.
4 days.
Wow.
And you're managing not only adults, but you're managing kids and you're managing the public. And that was really quite a feat, considering the idea started off as 4 go-karts that we're going to go around in a circle and we're going to put a flagger there.
Yeah, because it's you can go in and out and it winds, and then you got I know, and you also got the community involved because you had all of the graffiti boards done by the artists, the BC artists.
It was the largest graffiti artist show in Canada at that point.
Oh, I remember that. That was really well received, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the artists loved it, and we had so much fun because I love art anyway. It was just another way to get the whole family involved, and people that couldn't go into the go-karts and on the segways.
Yeah. So when they would go, which was fun to watch is I feel like the kids did better than the adults, because the kids would come up on the flagger and the kids would stop. But these adults, once you got the adult size ones and the segways, like adults were racing and blowing by the traffic control person. We're like, that's not the point. The point is
just like they do on the highways and the byways. So, Bob, you work with a company. You've got a lot of divisions. Sounds like you're really busy. You got a big team that you lead. But when we reflect, what has been your favorite job over the years you've been working?
The favorite job within the company, or
in general, just in.
To be quite honest, it's this one. I have been so blessed. It's funny when I started here. When I started at Main Road, I started off as a assistant service manager, and then went into the quality stuff after I had gone through the fleet side. And then safety got thrown on the corner of my desk.
Yeah.
And
like it often does for many.
Yeah. And at that time, there wasn't a whole lot of stuff put towards safety. It was, it was an afterthought. The people I've met and the changes we've been able to make have been so life-changing, not only for the person, but for the organization. And we have just grown exponentially because of that. And then we've been able to make changes within the industry. That's a pretty rewarding thing to be able to do.
Absolutely.
And so, as I say, this job for me has been the greatest job I've been blessed to have.
On that note, then, let me ask you, what would be the complete opposite? What was the worst job you've ever had to endure?
So outside of Main Road, I went to 2 places. One was Lure Jensen, and it was the fishing lure company.
Okay.
And I worked there for I think I lasted 3 weeks there, and it was making lures, and you're on a machine and you're doing this. And
so these lures never catch a fish, and that's why they decided to say, see you later.
All you're doing is making one part after another. And I was ready to kill myself by day 2. And then I worked in another place that was a welding fabricating shop. And I was working there, and I was doing somewhat the same thing, making the same pieces. And I remember being told the coffee bell went, and I wasn't finished, so I was keeping on going. And I got in trouble by the rest of the crew for keeping on working because I wanted to finish where I was. And I said, I can't do this anymore.
And did they act surprised, or?
Yeah, because it was really good money back then.
Wow,
back then, I mean, it was up close to $20 an hour.
Oh, that would have been huge back in the olden days.
Thanks, Tanya. Appreciate all the help here.
Hey,
yeah. I know.
Go ahead, Tanya.
Only making $30 a month, but hey.
That's right. Wasn't that was like $3.23 was the?
Yeah. Well, I actually it probably wasn't $20. Probably around 15 or 16, because I think the minimum wage at that time was $3.50 or.
See, I was close.
Yeah.
That was big money.
That was good money. I remember when it was $2.50 or $2.
Oh man,
that was like, yeah. Yeah.
You guys are old. I don't remember that at all.
Denial works.
So listen, Bob, I know that, of course, we're going through this challenging times right now, and I know that there's lots of challenges happening with everybody. And I know for you, because it's been a very overwhelming year, and with COVID and this big resignation, right? That of staffing and keeping people. And then when the people you keep get sick and then you're short staffed and all of that kind of stuff. And I also know that you love to ride a motorcycle. What kind of motorcycle do you have?
I got a 2018 Road Glide.
Nice.
Call her Twisted Sister.
So what I like about that answer, Tanya, is that he didn't even have to tell you the brand. He just gave you the model. Like, that's the people that ride those two wheels. They don't need to throw that around.
They know. And so when you're, feeling these challenges, which we're going to talk about in just a minute, but when you're feeling those challenges and you get on your bike and you just need to kind of listen to some music and just sort of regroup, what kind of song do you listen to really kind of cheer you up and get you moving forward during these tough times?
So in a lot of cases, I'll listen to something like if I really want to get away from something, I've had a bad day or whatever, or a bad afternoon. In order to get myself out of it, I'll play something like Cinderella, Bad Attitude, or Nickelback, Burn It to the Ground.
Wow, that's awesome.
And
I love it.
I just get to think about the music and the road, and that's all I do. And it gets me completely out of the zone. I used to get the same thing when I was running, except now I'm too old. I can't run. My run is somebody else's walk.
Yeah, I'm almost there with you for sure. So we're going to play a song. Richard's going to have here some of the songs, or one of the songs that Bob says that he listens to when he is on his motorcycle and need some cheering up.
Well, it's midnight, damn right, we're wound up too tight. I got a fist full of whiskey, the bottle just bit me. Oh, that shit makes me batshit crazy. We got no fear, no doubt, all in, balls out. We're going up tonight to kick out every light, take anything we want, drink everything in sight. We're going till the world stops turning while we burn it to the ground at night.
Oh yeah, that one's going to kick some butt. When they start talking about having no shirt and shit faced, Bob is in the mood when he's on that bike, and that is playing. And we want to say hair straight back, but he doesn't got much, and he's wearing a helmet, so you can't tell for sure. Nickelback, that is a great song. What a rocker! You know what? I love Nickelback. Small town Alberta, moved to Vancouver. Now, of course, they base themselves down in California in LA, but wow, that's a band, three chord rock, and they can really kick it out. I really do like Nickelback, and sometimes they get a bad rap, but I think they're a great band. And Bob, clearly you like them too.
I do. I like the fact that somebody is able to be a little bit of rebel within them, and question what is the norm. I think that's phenomenal. That's what makes our world great.
Mm-hmm.
Canada. So.
And, before the song, we were talking about, having challenges, and we know that some of the most current topics that we're talking about here with safety is the mental and physical stresses. And we've really noticed that recently, even with staff shortages, the long hours, the products, the tools not available, for the shipping, because we've had just environmental issues, from our fires to our, big rains, to our road collapses, to flooding, and then all of this stuff. And I know that we deal, or especially with a large company like yourself, you deal with the biases with vaccinations and positive COVID cases, and, in the organization, and we were already short staffed, and now these staff are out. And so, Bob, I know you'll be the first person to say I don't have all the answers, but what are some of the things that you're doing or talking about, or how do we get through this?
I don't know how we're going to get through it completely, for sure. But what I would say is that what we have to do is, I really drive for us to try to really create understanding of where the actual issue is. So 9 times out of 10, when somebody is feeling that stressed, it's usually something small that we can work at together, rather than pointing out everything that's wrong and that, but trying to work at that as a group.
Can you give us an example of sort of what that would look like something that you as a company feel like you could work with if somebody shared with you?
Yeah, so like there was in fact, there was something that came up yesterday, and I was talking with my leads, and they came up with it was to do with plow blades and how they needed to be torqued and so on and so forth. And I said, have you talked to the operation yet? And I know I agree with you that the torquing needs to happen, but I'm not understanding how we're going to accomplish that, because the operation has to change that in the middle of the night, and he's one guy. How are we looking at that, and how did we get down to that? Which then comes into the part about the quality side, and everybody's saying, well, it's not a safety issue. Well, it is a safety issue as part of the quality program, but again, we need to understand what's happening within the operation, and how is the operation dealing with it? What have they perceived of how they're going to accomplish that? And they may or may not have thought about those things, but those things we have to discuss as a group. And this is where I really think that organizations really fail. And we're successful, but we're not successful in areas as well, right?
You have moments, and which we love, because you try things though, Bob. You've always said that. You said, you know what, at least try. If I fail, then at least I've tried.
Yeah, exactly. But this is where I honestly think this is where the EOSH or JOSH committees could really become a help and much more effective within the operation, because you've got 4, 5, 10, 12 minds looking at the same thing. And, you may have a suggestion, but you need to bring it forward and say, okay, so how are things actually being done now? And let's have total honesty, candor, and not have, the crap of what are you supposed to do? I don't want to know that. I want to know what you are doing. And you're not going to get in trouble for it. What we're going to do is we're going to try and find a solution to this.
And I love, sorry, Richard,
Go ahead,
I love that you talk about the Joint Health and Safety Committee, because a lot of times people are like, what do we talk about? And these are great opportunities for the committee to come together. And I love that you use the word candor, right? It's not just, okay, let's all say the right thing. Let's do some pushback. And because, Bob, we known you so long, one of the things that I admire about you is that you put people around you on purpose that generally may disagree with you, because you want, well, tell us, why do you do that? Why would you want to have people around you that disagree with you?
Well, mainly because they're smarter than me. But I put them around me because I need somebody to challenge my thoughts. And, I certainly don't have all the answers, but I really put people that have, one, the regulation or the appropriate way of doing things. But I need open thinkers too. And I don't like having all the same within the group. So I tend to mix the group up. And so then we can challenge each other. And it's an open forum. When we get into that room, it's an open forum. You can say anything you want. The trick to it is coming out of the room and all of us saying the same thing.
Yeah, that's the big secret. You can all agree to disagree, but once we step out of the boardroom, we're one, we're united. We have to come to some kind of conclusion. And I think that I was going to mention the same. Thanks, Tanya, for bringing that up, because the Joint Health Safety Committee sometimes struggles to know what to speak about. And then, of course, someone like you is a bit of an anomaly where you like to challenge yourself. And like you just mentioned, you'll bring people into the room that disagree with you. I think it generates that conversation that needs to be had, and it gives people the courage to speak up, right? And you encourage that, and I think that is an awesome trait of yours, Bob. And I think the people that work with you appreciate that, and I certainly have too, because I know that you've, in the times that you and I have worked, you've challenged me, you've asked me things. And almost every single time I realized you were asking me because, I knew the answer, and you did not.
How often is that, Richard?
I don't want to brag, but we're talking about 92% of the time. You know what I mean?
If I was listening right now to the conversation and I knew that, because I know Bob does have this trait and we talk about these traits, but how would I do that, Bob? Like, I understand that I need to have people with different opinions around me. I know that I need to go to a joint health and safety committee or collaboration, but how do you keep it from nobody hating each other and throwing punches across the table? And like, what do I do? How do I do that?
Well, and again, I'm not going to say I have all the answers, because we get, I can tell you my top few people around me, we get into rip-roaring fights. but I've told my staff before, okay, guys, when we're in this scenario, you can be as animated as you want, and nothing's, I need you to be totally honest with me, which means that we're probably going to start out disagreeing. But we need to present our arguments in going forward. And at the end of the day, we have to agree. And yes, I have the final say for sure. But I lose probably 92 to 94% of the arguments because they're able to present that. But I think the thing that gets them so that they're not feeling like they're ignored or dismissed is I also tell them the challenges that I have. This is what I have to present up to the upper brass. This is what I have to do to get money to do something. This is what I have to do. So I got to be able to justify this. And this is the question that's coming down. And then they give me their opinion of what they're facing. And so it's us actually trying to find solutions for each other's problems. So I'm trying to find them for theirs, and they're trying to find them for me. Yeah, and so I think that's how we get on the same page. So
obviously you draw in a variety of personalities into that kind of environment, the Joint Health Safety Committee. Yeah. So speaking to that and in general, so in your opinion, Bob, what is the most important personality trait someone needs to have in order to be successful in health and safety today and in their role?
So again, I would say humility. You need to understand you don't know it. Yeah. The committee, within the committee, you have to want to draw the information out, and sometimes the information isn't all that kind to you. And it's uncomfortable. But the thing is if you start to do that, you're so much better for it. And that's what makes a strong organization. And for a safety person, their job is not to run that committee. Their job is to guide it. And they need to keep them on track. There's certain things that they have to do, and maybe there's things outside the committee that they have to create other sort of committees, learning committees or teams or what within that. But that's something, and it's something that's not going to happen overnight. And if you don't mind me saying one more thing, is that The biggest problem that I'm seeing with committees that I've seen so far is, again, you talked about communication and what they're going to tell their workers and their fellow people that they're representing. They need a communication plan, and that committee actually has to figure that out. And what are they going to say? You need to strategize that as a committee. And I don't think that's done well in a lot of committees.
Bob, I love that you said really humility or humble and kind, right? Humble and kind. And I love that because I know that like you, like me, we are both country fans, and one of your favorite songs to listen to remind yourself, right? We need to remind ourselves sometimes when we're really frustrated and stuff's coming at us that we do need to be humble and kind, even when we don't feel like it in the moment. And so I know that you listen to this song from Tim McGraw.
Roll the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but always stay humble and kind.
All right. Yeah. Words of wisdom from our very special guest today. It's Bob Nielsen. He's the Director of Safety and Compliance at the Main Road Group of Companies in Vancouver, BC, Canada. So thanks, Bob. That is a great song. I mean, you can't go wrong. Tim McGraw, what a great artist and what a lovely tune. So yeah, be humble and kind.
That's right. It's the theme. Hey. So listen, Bob, we've promised that our listeners, that we would ask you some personal questions to get to know you. And you were I know you wouldn't necessarily say this, but we will for you. You are a man of influence, and you have changed our industry. I say this behind, right? I say this literally behind your back, Bob, and I'm now going to say it in front of you. I say, you need to hold on to Bob's shirt tails, because if you don't, you're going to be left behind, because you are moving 100 miles an hour forward, trying to push our safety. And so we want to know a little bit about, how, this man of influence, and get to know you a little bit on a personal. So
do we know button fly, zipper? What, we want to know everything about you, Bob.
That's right. We want to know all the tricks to become an influence like you.
Well, you're very kind.
So, hey, listen, first question, romantic comedy or psychological thriller?
Ooh, yeah, I'm a romantic comedy
Okay,
guy.
which one?
Sleepless in Seattle is one of my favorite shows.
Now that's something probably most people would not pin on you.
No, I wouldn't have. I had no idea.
My
That's fun.
my grandkids come in sometimes, and I'm watching the women's channel.
Good for you.
It mocks me
Seriously.
big time on this.
I love it. I think you've told me that before, Bob.
Yeah.
And I think I'm still in shock. No, I'm teasing. I think that's wonderful. I watch the women's channel too. There's some good shows on there. Okay. But if we're confessing things, I've watched The Bachelor or Bachelorette.
No, you don't. Do you really?
Okay. Let me ask you this, Bob. Morning person or night hawk?
Morning person. Definitely morning.
All right, then coffee or tea?
Tea.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
Preference for light or dark? Blanco or negro?
No, I'm a lush, so drink both.
So it's the moral of our story: to be an influencer, you just need to drink lots.
Yeah. If you're drinking wine, everybody wants to be with you, because it includes cheese and meat. I mean, come on.
Oh, okay. So sweet or savory then?
So I have a varied taste that way. I am definitely a sweet. I'm a chocoholic, but I love appetizers and all sorts of different foods.
Bob, would you rather be physically stronger than most people, or would you like to be able to fly?
Wow. They fly.
Yeah, that's so much more fun, right? Like you can.
Yeah.
I would
All
say
right.
And you can look down on people.
There you go.
Would you rather always have bad gas or always have bad breath, Bob?
Oh, that's mean. It would be, oh geez, it would be bad gas rather than bad breath.
Really? And why is that?
Well, because bad breath means that I can't sit down with a person.
Hmm.
Bad gas, I could probably go hide.
There you go. Now, see, Tanny, that is
Yeah,
a little, insight into Bob's personality. He's very, very social.
he's very social. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, Bob. Would you rather go without shampoo for the rest of your life or toothpaste for the rest of your life?
Without shampoo.
Okay.
Yeah, because bad breath, toothpaste is the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
You know,
related question.
Yeah, because you are very social, Bob. I'm guessing that your love language is quality time, is what I'm thinking. Is that a correct assumption?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's like everything that I do is about that moment that you're in. And we talked about earlier about how I do want people to feel good,
Mhm.
but I want everybody to experience the same sort of moment I'm feeling. When I'm talking with you two, I am experiencing a moment that I will never get back. And it is truly a special moment at that moment in time. And I love thinking about those things. So it's selfish too.
Yeah, no, I understand. What's something people seem to misunderstand about you then, Bob?
Work-wise or person?
Just in general and generally speaking.
A lot of people think that I'm, I would say the misunderstanding is that I'm this extroverted person that can go and do anything and don't have a care in the world. When in fact, I'm probably more of an introverted person that has an extroverted personality.
Interesting.
That I utilize on purpose
Mhm.
to achieve what I'm after.
Good for you, Bob. You've adapted well. So I'm going to ask you something musically.
Okay.
The Beatles or the Stones?
Oh, that's mean.
That is mean, actually.
You can only pick one.
Come on, the person
I'm gonna
listening.
say
The two of us, which I think is synonymous with Bob and his social personality, him and somebody else, and that's all he needs for a party. That's how you boil it down with Bob. He can just have fun with only one person. There doesn't have to be 30, 40, or 500, right, Bob?
It's true.
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's all
So-
the moment.
What's that?
It's all about the moment.
It's all about the moment. I would agree.
I love
So-
that. It's about the moment. Let's just stop that for a second. Because
Yeah.
it is to celebrate this moment or right here, right now. And I love that you embrace that moment might be us disagreeing or fighting, but we're embracing that moment because we're pushing through and we're making a difference and we're learning something new.
And at the end of it, no matter how we push through, we end up laughing afterwards.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a true statement. Hey, listen, if you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would that be?
I would have stayed in school and got a psychology degree.
Tell me why.
Psychology, it truly, within all the jobs that I've done within my lifespan so far, if I'd had psychology, I probably would have advanced a lot quicker. I would have been able to make a bigger change, a bigger difference. I think people is everything in this world.
Mhm.
And I think we do a terrible job as human beings on trying to understand each other's differences and how to make a difference in that person's life instead of just our own. So I think psychology does that. I think it helps map that way, just for me.
So, Bob, in your opinion, what do you think is the next current topic of conversation, or the necessary topic of conversation for safety professionals to have today?
I honestly think it is about the mental stresses within the workplace, and how can we facilitate conversations and understanding and create solutions that can help alleviate some of those stresses. Not going to alleviate them all, but to alleviate some of those things. And how do we work together as more as a team instead of siloed the way that some operations or departments are? Safety tends, in a lot of cases, is honestly siloed, not only from themselves, but also the operation puts it as a separate entity. And so safety is number one. So that should be just a bracelet that gets put on a wrist, and really it needs to be part of the arm and the wrist, and it needs to be all part of that. So how do we get there?
And I love that you and I have had this conversation before, but you are very driven and you're very visionary. And I know that, some of the things that you've learned, that your performance and your dedication to work and how it affected others and your team. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So a downward moment in that part. I am pretty driven, and that's what's made me successful. But at the same time, it is that other side of the sword, that cutting edge. Whereas I'm so driven, and so my team is a very dedicated team, and has been. And I used to work 80 to 100 hours a week on average. I was at work all the time.
Easily, yeah.
And my team would see that, and I'm trying to tell them to take their regular time, but they would not. They feel guilty because I'm doing this, and I didn't realize that. And so if they don't accomplish something, they feel that they have to stay and do all of those other things, and they get consumed by the work instead of having that work-life balance. And I've actually, I had a very humbling experience a few years ago where I had one of my team members go down. They were completely broken, mainly because they were following part of my lead, and I didn't realize it at the time. So I made a conscious effort to make sure that I'm not working all those hours, and that when we're driven during that time. But at the other side of it, we are creating those other moments within our life that are just as important, if not more so.
Yeah, right.
And rejuvenate.
Yeah, and if you've been around a long time, Bob.
Not to say you're old or anything.
It doesn't.
But we did already.
Let me get that part going, Tanya.
Yeah.
But I also know that you have a long way to still go, because I know that there's still things that you want to change and impact. And so I know you think you're just sort of in the middle of it. But if you could be remembered for one thing, what would it be?
If I could be remembered for one thing, what would it be? I think for me, it is that I gave back, and that that I made a difference of some sort, and that I cared.
Yeah.
I truly, I truly, it's not about me at that moment in time. You know, when I decide that I'm going to leave this industry, I'm trying to set up the next group so the next generation has something better to start with than I had, but also that they're going to put their own stamp on it. They're going to put their own things onto those things. And if I've given them a better start than I had, I think I've done a good job career-wise.
Yeah.
And I feel that way in home life too. And it's getting all of those things to happen with a good work-life balance.
So speaking of a work-life balance, we have to have a balance in the music. And Bob has balance because he listens to AC/DC, and then the next song on this playlist might be Celine Dion, and then of course Tim McGraw shows up, and then we're back over to Nickelback, rocking it out. So it's like, whoa, it's like a tennis match, right? But Bob also, the life of the party, loves to put on some dancing shoes, and so a song like this might very well get him out there. And so don't be surprised if he walks up to you and says, "Care to dance, boy or girl?"
It's been said and done. Every beautiful thought's been already sung. And I guess right now here's another one. So your melody will play on and on. With the best of them, you are beautiful. Like a dream come alive, incredible. A centerfold miracle, lyrical. You saved my life again. And I want you to know, baby, I love you like a love song, baby. I love you like a love song, baby. I love you like a love song, baby. And I keep it in repeat, beat, 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 beat. I love you like a love song, baby. I love you like a love song, baby. Like a love song.
Oh yeah, the great Selena Gomez with The Scene and Love You Like a Love Song. That is Bob on the dance floor with whoever wants to dance. He does not discriminate. Bob Nielsen, the Director of Safety and Compliance at the Main Road Group of Companies, is our very special guest today.
Yeah. And Bob, your life exudes caring and making a difference in the world. And we see that every day. That I can speak, I think, Richard Hay, for both of us, of the impact that he's made and how much we want to be part of what you're doing, because we just want to be part of something big as well.
Yeah, I've had my fill. I've really had.
You're done, eh? No more with Bob.
I'm out. Mic drop. Boom. I'm out of here. See ya. No, not true. Not true at all.
Yeah, and I know. So just for the listeners, Bob, we love you. You know, you're very dear to our hearts, and we joke around and we poke a lot. But between your 60, 70, 100 hours of work with all of your vision.
I thought you were going to say your 60 or 70 years of.
I'm going to kill you.
Hours a week of work. Come on. I'm trying to have a moment here with Bob.
Sorry. No, I digress.
That, every single Christmas, amongst everything that you're doing, you find time to come by my house and say Merry Christmas to me and my mom. Like, just you don't miss it. You've never missed it. Even when we have a phone call, you're like, hey, say hello to your mom. And you're just so warm and welcoming. And that has made a huge impact on our family. And I think even as safety professionals, because we talk about safety is building relationships, but those little tiny things that we do can really make huge impact. And I know that you do lots of this stuff with your staff as well.
Yeah, I think it's so important, and especially as a leader, if you're truly going to lead, you need to lead with empathy, and you need to lead about doing something for, again, somebody else. It's not about you anymore. It has to be. And but like when I come by your place and I come by Richard's place and some of the other people that I go and stop and see, I go by there, but again, it is that moment, and I get 10 times more out of it than what you do. But I'm trying to give myself, but I sincerely receive a lot more. So in a way, it's sort of self-gratifying too, to be very honest about it.
It's true. You really can't win, because when you give, you get so much, that the principle applies. You get so much more back. You're like, every time I give, I feel so selfish because I can't give enough, because we can't outgive, and you just always get stuff back. So I love that. So Richard and I have decided, because your life is actually pretty extraordinary, that we are going to write a movie about you, and because we're just going to make millions of dollars doing that. And so if there was a Hollywood actor that was to play you in a movie, who would you want it to be?
Tom Hanks.
Oh,
That's awesome. Tell me
Tom
why.
Hanks. Why?
Yeah.
Why is that? Tell me why.
So Tom Hanks, what I like about Tom Hanks, he's ordinary. I mean, he comes off as very ordinary, but he's extraordinary inside. And I like that he's humble. He's not the extravagant, yet he can become that personality when he needs to. But his inside, his soul says that, he appreciates everything in this world. And I hope that's what I do at the end of the day.
So Bob, tell us something about you that we don't already know, something that we haven't asked you on this show.
Not that. Don't tell us that.
No, don't tell us that. Yeah. Whoa.
That was on a bathroom wall.
We are on the internet, but I still.
I mean,
Is that a Speedo you're wearing?
yeah. This is the perfect thing about Teams and Zoom. I don't have to wear pants, and you don't know.
Now, there's never been a truer statement ever blurted out.
Things that you don't know about me. I'm a pretty open book.
Yeah.
I don't hide things. I think there's so many things that I still have left to do. I don't know whether I constantly push myself to do things that I don't think are possible, or that I didn't think was possible years ago, and try to get over my fears, such as I want to go shark diving with the great and
The great whites.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Really? What, why?
Well, one, I mean, it's not like you can see one of them in an aquarium.
Yeah.
And all you do is see them on the TV. And I think it would be pretty damn impressive to see one up close, of course, in a cage.
Yeah.
As long as I'm the one in the cage.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you would be outside of the cage. Now, that would be crazy, but not unlike your personality.
I've done that before.
Bet.
Not with a shark, but yeah, I don't think that there's, I think everybody knows about me that I'm not afraid to try something new. So everybody thinks everything is pretty unexpected, but it's actually quite planned whenever I do something. I actually plan what I'm going to do a fair bit ahead, although I will react on a very impulsive side.
Interesting.
So, like, I got my first tattoo at COVID.
Did you really?
I did.
Okay, good for you.
You got my birth date or my initials on there?
Yeah. I got your phone number. So
Oh, there it is.
you're going to be called.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You are definitely always brave. Now, I do know you've been trying to get to Hawaii, and that's the background that you're on right now. But because you haven't really been able to get there because of COVID. But when I was in Hawaii last time, Mom and I swam with the manta rays. That
Oh,
was
really?
quite the experience. Have you done that there?
I have not.
Yeah, it was wild. So you go out on the boats and then they put a bunch of food, which you think about in a few minutes is not really that cool. Being in safety, what do you want to do? I want to be eaten by a shark. But they put the food in, and then these big, huge, like 10, 15 feet wide manta rays, they come and they swim with their mouths wide open that you're pretty sure your entire body could fit in. And they swim up to your chest and grab all the food. And then they just come around and then they just hit their underbottom against your chest. And then they swim away. It was very unnerving, but very cool.
That would be very cool. I'd
Why?
like to.
You
Because
should
I
do
have
that.
not done that. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Maui?
It was where were we, Maui, or was it on the Wahoo? I'll look into it for you.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
I'd be
super cool.
really interested in doing that.
Yeah, Bob likes to rub up against things. So if it's going to be a fish, let it be a fish. It doesn't really matter. Our special guest today has been Bob Nielsen. He's the Director of Safety and Compliance with the Main Road Group of Companies right here in Vancouver, BC.
Thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to you tuning into Safety Debris next time for more insight into personalities of the safety world. Be sure to like us and to subscribe to Safety Debris Podcast.
And if you have any suggestions on who you'd like to hear interviewed on this program, drop us a line at safetydebris@gmail.com. Thank you for joining Tanya and I here on Safety Debris. And remember, don't let anyone ever tell you any different. Safety does indeed have a personality. Tanya and I have enjoyed this show, and we're going to play a song from Bob's playlist. It's a Canadian artist, which is what we normally like to do at the end of our show. But this song means something even more to me, because I don't know if you realize this, Tanya. I don't think you even know this. Maybe you do. But Bob and I went on a joint work vacation together with a group of people. And we went down to the Deep South. We went to Louisiana. And one of the musical genres that Bob has not mentioned that he really has an appreciation for is jazz music. And we did get the pleasure to watch a number of bands play jazz. And there were a few blues bands down there as well. We were in New Orleans.
New Orleans. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a while ago now, isn't it? June 2019, Bob.
Yeah.
It was just before COVID.
Just before COVID.
It was. Did you guys do the safety conference down there? Is that what you?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we did. And then we stuck around and had some fun. And we had fun before the conference, during the conference, after the conference days, and after the conference. It was a lot of fun. Seriously, we had a few laughs. And thanks, Bob, for that. So we're going to end off the show here with a band from Ontario that sings about New Orleans. This is the Tragically Hip on Safety Debris.
All right. The blue on the street, loose and can bleed under skies so smoky blue-green. I can't foresee a Dixie did she, so it danced the sidewalk clean. My memory is muddy, what's this river that I'm in? New Orleans is sinking, man, and I don't want to swim.